Hello, everyone. I'm Corbin Hostler, and this week I'm here with a holiday-themed Mining Modern. So the last couple of weeks we've had some very serious decks. We've had Black Red Eldrazi and then Mardu Eldrazi lists that I worked on, taking that deck that had done well with the GP, and we had a bunch of success with it. I think Mardu Eldrazi is actually a very strong deck, has a possibility of being an actual tier one deck in Modern. But we've been very serious playing some hardcore sort of matches, so I figured let's jank it up a little bit this week with a holiday theme. Elves on shelves. You can thank your content manager Adam Staborski on TCG Player for that suggestion. But we're playing elves on a shelf with Panharmonicon. This, I guess, is the shelf in this analogy we're going with here. So what we do is we basically have an elf deck with some extra ETB effects to maximize Panharmonicon. So for those of you who don't know, the way Green Black Elves works is you play a lot of mana dorks in the deck. You play Heritage Druid because you can tap 3 elves at 3 mana. It's very, very powerful, along with the ones you would expect. Then we have Dwynen's Elite, makes a token and puts a lot of bodies on the board. It's a great turn 2 play follow up to a Heritage Druid. Allows you to make 3 mana on turn 2 after casting it to cast one of our 3 drops. Elvish Visionary draws cards. Elvish Harbinger, we'll get to this one in a minute. Nissa Vastwood Seer, go gets the land. Elvish Archdruid pumps all of your elves, adds mana for all your elves, makes a bunch of mana. Azuri is one of your win conditions, one of the things you always fetch out with your Court of Callings. Can protect your elves from board wipes, but most of the time you just overrun and kill them. Now, Shaman of the Pack is pretty great. Shaman of the Pack deals damage equal to a player, rather they lose life equal to the number of elves you control. So it gets around a lot of things. It's a great finisher in the deck. Collected Company, great, pick up all of our elves in our deck. Panharmonicon, of course, great because we have a bunch of ETB effects, including the other win condition in this particular version, Crater of Behemoth. Hit 8 mana, play it. All the creatures get +X, where X is the number of creatures you control. They get trample as well, and you just overrun your opponent very quickly. Court of Calling to dig it all out. So what makes this different is that we're playing Panharmonicon because it sort of naturally synergizes with the deck, and we can push the deck to synergize with it even more. And that's why you see this Essence Warden in here. When a creature enters the battlefield, you gain a life. Well, that means you gain 2 life. Dwynen's Elite, when it enters the battlefield, you get a token. Now you get 2 tokens. Elvish Harbinger, and this is why I'm playing this one. When it enters the battlefield, search your library for an elf, put it on top of your deck. Whoops, sorry about that. You'll see that one in a minute. You can put an elf on top of your deck. In this case, you can get 2 elves, and then it can add mana as well. Nissa, good late game card. Get you that 4th lane for your collected companies, your Panharmonicons, and if you have a Panharmonicon out, it'll get you 2. Now, Shaman of the Pack is truly nuts because it'll trigger twice. Earlier, I was in a tough game against somebody where they had a bunch of creatures, I had a bunch of creatures, and I played Shaman of the Pack and just hit them for actual 16 life loss, thanks to Panharmonicon, which is pretty great. So moving on to, also, it makes Crater of Behemoth trigger twice. Moving on to the sideboard, we have more of the same sort of ideas here. Malira, good against Infect. You can fetch it up with Quarter Calling, hit it off Collected Company. Good card. Scavenging Ooze, great. Reclamation Sage, very good. It triggers twice off Panharmonicon. You can get a bunch of cleanup with it. Kitchen Finks, gain a bunch of life with your Panharmonicon. Just a good value creature overall. Now, Sylvan Messenger, there's a lot of, usually people play something like Lead the Stampede, or something along those lines as sort of their refill spell. I'm going to go with Sylvan Messenger because it combos with Panharmonicon in our sideboard. Creeping Corrosion for Artifact decks, Fracturing Gust for the same. Gillleaf 1-0er, this seems like a fun one with Panharmonicon on 4, this on 5, and you can destroy some creatures, good for those mid-range matchups. Another chord where we want to fetch out stuff, and then Stay in the Mine against combos. And this is actually a really nice part of this Black-Green Elves deck, which, by the way, also gets to play Blooming Marsh these days. So Stay in the Mine, actually very good. It's a really nice effect to get cards out of their deck. The mana base, sort of green-black lands, Nykthos, to Westphale, some caverns. So Elves on a shelf. We've got the elves, the Panharmonicons are the shelves, so let's have some fun. Happy holidays.